Alright, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to a brand new video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Rose here, and before we get into anything in this video, I'm going to briefly explain what this video is about. And this is going to be more of a conspiracy theory than an actual theory. So, obviously, both, theories are, not 100%, but this is more of a, towards who Fortnite is and what Epic is doing. And as you can tell from the title, what they're doing is going to be ripping off movies, like legitimately ripping off movies, not just we've seen them make skins from movies and everything like that, but there's a lot more into it than what we've actually seen or what we actually think. So I'm gonna be giving y'all my obviously theory about why they're actually doing this and the little details that shows that they're actually completely just ripping them off. So what I'm gonna do is show you guys some skins and explain to you guys why I think they're ripping them off and how similar they are to movie characters. And then I'm also gonna be showing you guys the Fortnite season trailers and then some Fortnite scenes. I think only one of them's a scene. But then right after that, I'm gonna be showing you guys the movie scene comparison towards that season trailer or scene. So we're gonna go ahead and get straight into this. No more bullshit. Let's go. So to start off this video, obviously, like I said, I'm gonna be talking about the skin comparisons, and I'm gonna try to get through this category a lot quicker because the scenes and movies are really long. So the first skin I'm gonna be talking about is the Glimmer skin. Now, I don't have to say anything, but I'm gonna put the skin that it compares to on this screen right now. And that skin, or that movie character, is going to be Elsa from the legendary movie Frozen. Now, I understand that this season is or season 7, depending on when you watch this, is a ice-themed season. But the similarities are just so uncanny. They're both wearing a white dress. They're both pretty much blonde or have white hair. And they're both really pale. Obviously, Glimmer has a lot more makeup. They made this skin a lot uglier than what Elsa is. And the reason being, at least to me, is so they don't get too much, attention towards this, or else it would have been copyright. So that's just completely obvious. That had to be the first skin I talked about because when I put them side by side, they're just so identical and it's ridiculous. And going on to the next skin, I'm going to talk about this one really quick because a lot of people might not agree with me, and I kind of don't too, but if you get where I'm going with this, it's going to be the Dire skin. I'm going to be comparing that to the Twilight series. If you've never watched that, don't worry, I've seen like one of them. But if you know what Twilight is about, it's the werewolves against vampires, just put it like that. It has werewolves. And werewolves are a popular thing, or a popular folklore, whatever you want to call it, story and everything. But they could have done something else. I don't know what the reason would have been for them to add a werewolf, but they did, and you could compare it to either Twilight. If you've ever watched Silver Bullet, you could compare it to that as well. Like I said, this is, werewolves are more of story-based, but you could compare them to that as well. But next and last thing I believe I'm going to be talking about is Season 4, if I remember correctly. And the skins on there we know are Carbide and Omega, or I should say, the main skins. And Omega representing evil, or a supervillain, and Carbide representing a superhero, or the good guy. And we have the hero layer and the supervillain layer. Now, the supervillain layer isn't, or the enemy layer, or whatever you want to call it, bad guy layer, there's not too much there that I could really compare it to. But the hero layer, however, has a logo that is, I wouldn't say ridiculously, but it is very similar to the Avengers logo. Now, when we got the Season 4 theme that was, leaked and everything during Season 3 near the end, everybody, was saying that this is going to be an Avengers theme season, or we're going to be getting Avengers skins overall, like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. We're going to be getting skins like that. But what we got was what people said was Avengers themed or hero themed. And, the skins aren't like anything in Avengers at all, but the logo that is at the hero layer, want to say it's at the front on the top, but the picture I'm going to show you is, I believe, from the second floor. It's in between two windows, if I remember correctly. And when you put that logo next to the Avengers logo, you can kind of begin to see the similarities between them two. Now, you could say that it looks like a raindrop. You could say it looks like a triangle. But what I like to say is that it's not a coincidence at all that it's pretty much an A. Now, most hero organizations, I guess you could say, don't really ever have a shape to represent who they are or anything. They usually have a letter. And the Avengers have the A. What these, the hero themed whatever, what it looks to me to be it looks like an A. The similarities are pretty much the same. When you draw an A normally, you draw it up and then there's a little corner and then you draw it back down. Now you could say that it's not because it's enclosed in the middle, but obviously Fortnite's not going to do the exact same thing and make it an A. They're going to change it up a little bit. So what they did was do this, and it still highly represents an A. So that's all I really have to say about that. What we're going to talk about next is the movie scenes, and these are hopefully going to make you change your mind about what I just said about all the little skins. So the first movie comparison I have for you guys is Doctor Strange and Fortnite Season 5, the Kevin scene, where we end up, well, it's not really a scene, it was more of an event, and what we had was, whenever Kevin ended up spinning and we went into an alternate dimension, and we had, our character was floating around and everything. You could control it just a little bit, but at some point a rift began to form, and it formed a butterfly, and I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to let you guys watch these two clips, and then I'll talk to you guys about the comparisons.
Your eye.
His heart rate is getting dangerously high.
He looks alright to me.
So after watching those two clips, you cannot tell me that those are not almost the most identical things that you have ever seen. First off, the butterfly. The butterfly in Fortnite is a rift, which represents, teleporting to a different area. And in Doctor Strange, the butterfly represents going back to Earth or going to another, a different area. And in Fortnite, we don't see anything from, the inside of the rift, like whenever you take it, but you can assume that, it's a vortex and it's like in kind of like a different dimension that it leads you to home. And in Doctor Strange, after touching the butterfly, you see him go through this, wormhole, vortex, whatever you want to call it. And it looks like, multiple dimensions if you kind of like, frame by frame, but that's really besides the point. But anyways, if he does go through dimensions, actually it's not besides the point. If he does go through different dimensions, then it's the exact same as Fortnite, because after Kevin explodes or whatever, we get sent to another dimension and then touch the butterfly. What happens with Strange is he gets sent to space or whatever, which is pretty much another dimension because it's not real, and he ends up touching the butterfly, sending him back home, but through a vortex. Another thing that you have to 100% pay attention to is, I recommend you go watch it again, is the music. The music is perfect. I swear to God, if you go back to it, the music might not be the same, and like not the same notes or whatever, the same tone, but in Fortnite, the music gets a lot more dramatic whenever it gets closer to, the butterfly, whenever you start turning and like looking at it. And in Doctor Strange, as soon as he gets sent through the window into the sky and everything, the music gets more dramatic, or it's kind of like already all dramatic, to be honest. But, Fortnite had to change it a little bit since they're ripping it off. And as soon as he's about to touch the butterfly, the music stops. In Fortnite, as soon as you're about to touch the butterfly, the music stops. Now, okay, it probably doesn't stop, but If you listen closely, it probably quiets down. But either way, the music, the way they put it, is pretty much the exact same thing. It's dramatic off the start. As soon as you touch the butterfly, it quiets down. In Doctor Strange, it obviously comes back. But in Fortnite, we don't have the extra scene for it to come back to us. So you can, relate the sound that you get from the rift after, you getting sent back home to the music coming back. But I don't know. But anyways, Doctor Strange came out in 2016. Fortnite Battle Royale came out in 2017. The odds of that, of them copywriting that or ripping that off is very, very high, and it's ridiculous how identical they are. Sorry I stuttered on that one a lot, but this next scene I'm going to be showing you guys, this one's a little bit more, you could kind of question me on it, I understand. But this next one I'm going to be showing you guys is the Season 4 trailer with the meteor, and then I'm going to be showing you guys the Men in Black scene, I think it's the first one, where Edgar goes to the meteor that crashed under his truck, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
The only thing that pulls its weight around here is my goddamn truck.
Please, projectile weapon on the ground.
You can have my gun when you pry it from my cold dead fingers.
Your proposal is acceptable.
So if you guys didn't see what I saw, the similarity is the heroes coming up to the meteor and the point of view. The Edgar, whenever he walks up to the meteor, we get the same point of view from inside the meteor. In Fortnite, we're inside the meteor, or at least the camera is, I should say, and the camera is pointing upwards towards the heroes, which are looking down into the meteor. The same thing for Edgar. The camera is in the crater, pointing upwards at him, where he is looking down in the crater to see what's going on. Now, a tiny detail that I kind of thought was kind of similar was the fact that we saw what was down in the crater. Now, in Fortnite, it zoomed, or not zoomed down, but it came downwards and showed us the meteorite kind of, alive. And in the scene with Edgar and Men in Black, what we saw was it came back up to Edgar, and we ended up seeing him, the creature or whatever that was in the crater, pull him down. So you can say that those aren't the same thing, but they're, you kind of understand why I say they're similar. So this next and final comparison that I'm going to be showing you guys might be a little bit questionable to you guys. I 100% understand if you disagree with me, but I will get into detail with it. And the scene and the clip that I'm gonna show you guys is the Season 7 trailer and the Battle of Wakanda. There we go. I couldn't think of what the term was for it. The Battle of Wakanda from Avengers Infinity War. I understand if you guys disagree with me, but stick till after it. I will 100% get into every little detail about why they're almost the same thing. Okay, so hear me out. The reason why I say these scenes are so similar, for one, is the sword calling. Now, when we watch older movies, when I think in 300 or the Spartan movie, what those the raising of the sword represents, most of the time at least, is the kind of like calling of a war, or a where this is the time to push now and stuff. If you get what I'm saying. And in the Fortnite scene, we see Sergeant Winters, I believe is his name, raise his sword, and all the planes come shooting, or flying out and everything, and his army, comes down. In the Battle of Wakanda, we see, I want to say her name is Midnight. Sorry if I, don't remember that correctly, but we see her raise her weapon, and all the little things come out of the little spaceships that they, live in. And the second thing is where these things actually come from. The iceberg represents where the enemy actually exists on, and the iceberg comes into the homeland. The homeland in Avengers: Infinity War being Wakanda. The iceberg representing the spaceship that the little things came out of. The last thing that I kind of wanted, that they kind of compare to is how it all comes to. And what I mean by that is the shaking in Fortnite when the elf and stuff are sitting in the house and the spaceships landing in the Battle of Wakanda. Now, I don't think I showed it. It wasn't in this entire clip that I had. But if you watch the movie, then you see that whatever her name is looks at her hologram on her watch and says something's entered the atmosphere. The shaking could kind of represent that and say, that something's shaking, we should go check outside, something's entering, our island. And another thing that goes along with that is that the iceberg, whenever it comes in, everybody walks out and goes to see what's going on, and they see Sergeant Winter standing there, which is the leader. In the Battle of Wakanda, once they find out that something's entered, and as soon as those things land, the entire army, that lives in Wakanda, Black Panther and the Jabari tribe and everything, come down and see Midnight and the other big dude, I don't know what his name is, standing there, which represent the leaders, and they see the spaceships, which represent the icebergs, or the icebergs represent that, and they see all that standing there, which, if you picture it the way I'm picturing it, they're almost the same exact thing. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end it off there. This is a relatively long video, and I apologize for that. I apologize if my commentary was very off. I was doing this off the top of my head, and I tried to do this in under 10 minutes, but it didn't work out. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this theory. If you did, leave a thumbs up, and if you don't mind, click that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.